A Nightmare on Elm Street is here on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, released by Warner Brothers. It can be found as a slipcover and a non-exclusive steelbook, both available at your online retailers. It's always interesting going back to this original film and just see how vastly different the character of Freddy Krueger is when compared to later installments. In this first movie, he's more of a force of nature kind of villain and pretty serious. He's menacing and more of a sinister presence, and the film is pretty great at establishing atmosphere and dread. More often than not, the original movie in a franchise is usually the best, and I firmly believe that with the original A Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray has an aspect ratio of 1:5:1 with native 4K resolution, and it supports HDR10. According to the information available, A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K underwent a remaster of the uncut and theatrical versions of the film. The source itself is in relatively good shape, only an occasional speck or two for eagle-eyed viewers to catch, but generally it's pretty clean visually. What struck me almost immediately was how light the overall grain structure was. It's not gone completely, you definitely have to squint to see it, but it's still present. I'm almost certain some form of management was utilized here, but I didn't find the typical waxy faces or smoothed out appearances plaguing the image as we would from a certain other well-known studio that likes to employ these measures frequently. Overall detail enhancements show significant gains over the old and quite frankly dated Blu-ray picture. Textures clearly have more depth. Freddy's face, for example, even in shadow, reveals interesting little nuances. Close-ups exhibit excellent detail, every facial feature, strand of hair, and bloody gash stand out nicely. The palette itself gets a nice fresh coat of paint with HDR support. I found that outdoor day scenes to be absolutely striking and very pleasing to look at. Primaries in general are really well represented, red in particular looks pretty great. When we get into the nighttime and dreary dark interiors, black levels produce more than serviceable stability and shadow detail is firmly on point. Dreams are often menacingly dark and convey the proper atmosphere well with no issues. A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray supports a Dolby Atmos audio mix which folds down to a Dolby True HD 7.1. There is also an original mono track, as well as international options available. In addition to the film's mono mix, which I'll touch on again in a few moments, we are granted a new Dolby Atmos track, and I have to say, it's a fun experience. Keep in mind, however, the film is 40 years old at this point, so the sound design won't hold up to modern day standards, but it's still very enjoyable. Beginning with the height channels, it's mostly used to enhance the film's memorable score, as well as occasional creepy atmospheric effects, which I found subtle but still satisfying. There are one or two highlights though. That particular death in the bedroom, for example, is especially well implemented. The mid-levels and rear showcase similar results and aren't too heavy-handed in their usage, but the film has some fun moments that help envelop the listener. While general dialogue is clean, I found the overall mix to be a little bit on the low side for most of the duration. It almost felt like most of the characters, Nancy in particular, were almost whispering at times, so occasionally it was a little difficult to hear. The low end has a surprising amount of heft to it, and when called for, it has a particularly robust presence. Some of the kills featured in this movie pack a punch, and the LFE reflects this nicely. As for the original included mono mix, I sampled about 30 minutes throughout the movie, and I found it to be an overall enjoyable track. I think if you're a hardcore purist, you'll enjoy this one as it's generally well presented. Nothing new was created as far as bonus materials go, so just a simple port over from previously existing supplements for fans to dive into. A legacy audio commentary with director Wes Craven and Robert Englund is always an enjoyable one that I like to go back to occasionally. The House That Freddy Built is also a good featurette and worth a revisit, as are Never Sleep Again and Night Terror shorts. I like to think that if Wes Craven was still with us, he might have been enticed to add something new here, but I guess we'll just have to settle for what's here. For the picture quality, I'm going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray an A-. I do think visually the film was given a nice bit of TLC and makes for a very satisfying upgrade and transfer on the 4K format. I honestly can't think of any real negatives. To my eyes, the picture has never looked better than it does here. For the audio mix, I scored it an A- as well. I always champion when an older film utilizes a new Dolby Atmos mix, and I think for the most part, even considering the age, I think it does a great job with the additional speaker real estate. The original mono track is also included, which is a nice treat for fans, but I can't imagine anybody being disappointed with the Dolby Atmos. And for the extras, I graded them a B. It's good that most, if not all, of the film's prior bonus materials have made their way over here. I just wish circumstances would have allowed for some new content for this go-around on physical media. Still, if you're new or even a returning fan, I think they're definitely worth checking out for yourself. So that is my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. If you're interested in picking up a copy for yourself, I will leave a direct Amazon link for both the slipcover and steelbook in the comment section. But if you have the disc already, let me know your thoughts down below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.